Hello, I want to tell you a bit about some music. On Saturday at the coronation, I know everybody's banging on about the coronation, but this is relevant. When the Archbishop of Canterbury picks up the oil to anoint the new king, he starts a process where the choir sing a piece of music by Handel entitled Zadok the Priest. Now, that makes me cry. I'm a sentimental old fool and I find it very moving. However, a bit of background. I've got to keep looking at my notes. In 1723, Handel bought a house in Brook Street in Mayfair, London. Stick with me on this, it's important. And in 1727, at the coronation of King George II, they played Zadok the Priest, or they sang it. Now, that's all there is to say about that, really. However, Brook Street is also quite famous for another musician, a chap called Jimi Hendrix, who moved into a flat there in the 1960s and recorded his first #1 hit, Hey Joe, just after which he moved into Brook Street, next door to the same house that Handel used to own. Interesting. Hey Joe was originally a hit for a country and western singer called Carl Smith in 1953. Nobody remembers Carl Smith, but Jimi Hendrix did a slightly different version of it, which I thought was just fantastic. It was just the greatest in my book, and a complete divergence, rather like another singer who I was privileged to see live at his first gig at the Royal Albert Hall back in 1966. No, it wasn't. It wasn't 66 at all. It was 65. His name was Bob Dylan, and he did the first set doing his usual time zero changing and that sort of thing routine. Just him and a guitar and a little contraption around here with a harmonica in it. And lovely. Audience full of duffel-coated, bearded people with a finger in their ear, singing along. And yeah, it's great. If you've got the Bob Dylan freewheeling Bob Dylan album, you would know all the songs, and they're terrific. Girl from the North Country, what a record. Oh, mate. Anyway, I digress. The second half of that, he came on with a band called The Band, and he had an electric guitar, and it was incredible. I mean, the transformation, the interpretation, unbelievable. I was so excited. I was 15, 16 years old, and I just thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. The bearded, folk singing, duffel-coated lot didn't agree, and there was uproar. I loved it. Anyway, there we are. About that time, the Rolling Stones recorded their first hit too. It was called It's All Over Now. Nobody plays that anymore, but it was iconic. It really launched the Rolling Stones, who I think are probably the best band going. So that's that. They also did a song called Little Red Rooster, which was a copy. They did lots of copies in those days. It's All Over Now. And Come On, which was by Chuck Berry. Great, love Chuck Berry, still do. Still love the Stones. Little Red Rooster was rooted in the Delta and Chicago Blues, and they brought that over. I think it was written by Bobby Womak. But anyway, move forward a little bit, and I was singing in a church choir in Sidcup, which is where I really grew up. And I was a paid chorister. I know, hard to believe, isn't it? But I earned the princely sum of 5 shillings every 3 months. 5 shillings a quarter was the going rate. 5 shillings in old money is 25 pence. A fortune for me in those days. Anyway, the reason I tell you this is that one of the members of my choir was a man in his 30s who had the most beautiful voice. And his voice was so good that he had gone to Westminster Choir School. And he would sing regularly in Westminster Abbey. Stick with me, it's not hard. Anyway, Peter Salmon was in my choir. Well, I was in his choir, really. His voice was just incredible. To give you an example of how good his voice was, he sang, and it made Ali Jones, a brilliant singer, by the way, and I'm not having a go at Ali Jones, but a comparison would be Ali Jones would sound a bit like Janis Joplin singing, "Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz?" He was that good. Anyway, the Westminster choir that sang at the coronation was made up of very diverse people, not just the core of Westminster Choir School, or Choristers School as it's known, but also people from the RNLI who are known for singing Northumberland shanty songs, people from the LGBTQ community, people from all sorts of places. So it was a wonderful celebration of music, steeped in history, even history as far back as me. Anyway, that's that. Have a good day. Bank holiday today. And I'm not going to tell you about the weather. You can look out the window and see it for yourselves. Ta-ra.